a brand new gun from Rock Island Armory, and getting the secret sauce from Winchester Ammo by trading a postage stamp. All that right now with Martin Tuason from Armscor. Hey, welcome into Gun Talk Nation. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Pyramyd Air, your number one resource for everything airgun, Armscor, and Safariland. We save lives, and by Springfield Armory. Today on the show, we've got Martin Tuason from Armscor / Rock Island Armory, and you're going to kind of learn more about this company that I know you keep hearing about, and you go, I keep seeing their stuff. I see their guns out there and their ammo and all this stuff. So, Martin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Armscor, we're around everywhere, even in the Liam Neeson movie, from what I just saw. Somebody sent me a screenshot yesterday or the day before.
That's awesome. So, yes. It's funny because I think it's you guys, I guess we need a little brief history of where you guys have been and where you're going, because I think when you say Armscor, Rock Island Armory, I think a lot of people go, I know that, but either they already own the guns and they're familiar with the products, or they go, I feel like I know them, but I'm not sure how I know them.
Well, we go way back, almost 80 years now. The actual company itself started in 1905 as a photography studio, actually.
Wow.
Believe it or not. And then it converted into a sporting goods store around 1910 or around there. It was owned by William Squires and Roy Bingham, and they basically sold it to this American who turned it into Squires Bingham, the sportsman's headquarters in the Philippines. It was like our version of Cabela's.
Okay.
Right? And so you get everything from clothes to your hunting, fishing, golf gear, and my grandfather was a golfer and a hunter. I mean, if there's something with four legs in the Philippines, he killed it. He probably made sure that all the deer were extinct when he was a teenager. He really he just loved it. He was those were two things. So every when he was stationed in the farms in the south of the Philippines, he would come into town and he would do all the shopping at Squires Bingham. So let's flash forward to just before World War II, literally just a couple of months before World War II started. My grandfather got an offer to buy the place from the owner. His name was, oh my God, it just left my so never mind. Arthur Hallman was his name. And he was like, the Japanese are coming. And my grandfather's like, we're an American colony. There's no way the Japanese are going to invade us. And so he says, I'll buy it from you. And he buys it. 3 weeks later, after signing the contract with Arthur, the Japanese march into the Philippines.
Wow.
And so it's trials and tribulations right from the very beginning.
Geez, so you take over you take over a new business, or it's new to him, and then all of a sudden the Japanese are taking over the country.
Yep. Just imagine you open up your restaurant 2 weeks before COVID hits, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's not the most pleasant thing, right? So we made it through. And afterwards he says, I want to start making guns. And we got our license to manufacture in 1953, and we started producing a 22 rifle. It was modeled after a Remington 22. And we started producing 22 rifles, and then we needed ammunition for it. So we started producing 22 LR ammunition. And then just kept on growing from there. And in 1980, we restructured it and became Arms Corporation of the Philippines, or Armscor, like you guys know of us already nowadays. And get to my history, because in 1980, I was in kindergarten. I started working for the company in 99 and as head of sales here in the U.S. Well, actually, I had summer jobs and I worked in the warehouse and all that all throughout college. All the family stuff, with the child labor laws are violated.
It's okay. It's family business. It builds character, right?
That's right. That's right. 15 years old, cleaning the toilet in the public shooting range behind the office. It was fun, always. I mean, but I got to shoot for free every lunch, so I couldn't complain. And I chose that job because I got to shoot for free if I worked in the shooting range. So
a lot of 15-year-olds would be happy for that job. Sounds fun.
Oh yeah, and it was a lot of fun, and so I love the business. I'm a hotel restaurant major, graduate from UNLV, but I make guns for a living.
Yeah. So, I mean, so now you're running this, and you've got two brands that are, I guess, side by side. And I don't know if it helps to clarify. There's Armscor and there's Rock Island Armory. Yeah.
So we did a rebranding, when I took over sales. Armscor guns weren't quite known for the quality. Now, I'll be brutally honest about my company, because it's true. I mean, half the people liked our guns and half the people didn't. Why? Because half the time we made them right, half the time we did. And it's a simple math on that. And I said, we're going to change everything. I told my dad, if you're going to have me do this, we're going to do this right. We're going to make the guns good. We're going to hire all the experts. We're going to reinvest in machinery and people, and we're going to put a lifetime warranty. And that's going to force the factory to be able to really focus in on quality, because if not, we're going to go bankrupt. And we just can't have this the way it is. You want to enter the United States, you want to do this. This comes as a consumer who's owned Glocks, Paras, Springfield Armory, Colts. I love guns. So
yeah, I was going to say, Martin.
All the brands.
Yeah, Martin, you're a gun guy. I mean, I know that about you, and so. And I'm so happy to hear you say this, because it's very true, and you recognized it. And I've said it on and off camera about it's you can't really get away with. I think decades ago, maybe a company could get away with the product not being up to par, but these days it's kind of a nice thing, because we're kept honest, right? You have to make it better. You have to have the quality, because there will be no secrets if it doesn't run right, or if the customer service isn't good. That's going to get around. The consumers have a lot of voice.
Yeah, we had the early days of the internet, right? In 99 and 98 and around there. You had the forums coming up, right? And people, if you didn't like your stuff, they badmouth you, and with good reason. If you weren't making product the right way, you deserve it. So
fair.
I actually got some customer service training background from Herbalife. Actually, I rose up the ranks in Herbalife because my dad paid me minimum wage my entire life until I started having kids, and then she's like, "Well, you got to feed your kids, right?" So, so that's
got to be good training, though.
Yeah, I had minimum wage till I was 29, working for the company with the whole thing that, at some point in time you will be running this place and you will get paid the money that you deserve. But until then, you're on minimum wage. So I always had to have a second job, and I got a lot of training in Herbalife for customer service. And so what I wanted to do was bring that in 99 and say, this is how we're going to do things. We're going to make the gun right. But in the meantime, we're going to take care of the customer. We're going to have the best customer service that you can possibly have in the industry. We're going to respond right away. We're going to make sure the guns turn around on our repairs, and the customer is going to be happy. I don't care how we do it, but they're going to walk away with saying, you know what, things may have gone wrong, but you know what, they took care of me. And that's how I like my customer service. And I think we still have probably the best customer service in the industry, unless somebody's copied me already.
Well, and that's a big deal. So you guys have let's talk about a little bit about the products you guys have, because you have some fun ones. And maybe first off, before we get into the gun side, you're also an ammo company. Oh,
yeah. And that's the difference. I apologize. So we rebranded. Guns are Rock Island Armory, ammo's Armscor.
Gotcha.
We had a good reputation for good ammo.
Gotcha.
That's to make this the long-winded explanation short is that we've always made good ammo, and we've been very respected on the ammo. I mean, we have Eric Raffel, who's won 7 world titles with our ammunition, and we have JJ Ricasa, Athena Lee. They shoot for us. So Armscor ammo, we're known for great ammo. At that time, guns, we weren't known for it, so we rebranded into Rock Island Armory. The owner of that name actually had passed without passing the name to one of his heirs, so it was open on the trademark registry. And I thought, this is awesome, man! It sounds so American. I'm gonna get this name, and so we started Rock Island Armory.
Yeah, and because you have Rock Island Arsenal, which is a different thing. That's a defense contractor out there in Illinois.
Yeah, correct.
But Rock Island Armory, so and when we talk about ammo, I mean, I know you guys are a big time ammo manufacturer because you do rimfire, and not everybody, the other stuff, you could say the other stuff is a little bit, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's easier. But rimfire is the real deal. I mean, we're talking about, working with compounds and doing things that most people don't do.
Yeah, absolutely. And frankly speaking, I still don't know how they mix those chemicals to this day. We do train our guys for that, and there's at least 6 or 7 guys in our company who know the formula. But
very carefully. Very carefully.
Well, and we have to mix that in a separate area, and it's not the safest thing to manufacture, but we do the wet primer mix formula. We actually got it from Federal back in 1964.
Wow.
Stamp trading between my dad's general manager and Charles Horn, the chairman of the Olin Foundation, who owned Federal at the time.
Okay, right.
And they traded stamps, and they got a rare stamp to Mr. Horn, and he sent over a technician and gave us the primer formula.
For a rare stamp.
Yep.
That is a shrewd trade right there.
We make rimfire now. We've been making rimfires. We've been making rimfire since the 50s, but since '64, we've been making it with the wet primer mix formula that Federal had. So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
So yeah, we make we make hundreds of millions of rounds now. We've grown that quite considerably since I've taken over. When I took over, we probably made under 10 million rounds of rimfire a month. We're probably at 25 as our maximum capacity. Centerfire ammunition, we were at 3.5 million, 4 million rounds a month. I think we did 34 million rounds last month.
And we appreciate that. Everybody does.
Doing everything we can. We're doing everything we can. I mean, the shelves are empty, but what can we do? I mean, we just keep on shipping, and it's actually been a little more challenging. The shipping company we normally use in the Philippines to ship stuff out went bankrupt the first 2 months of COVID. So
because of COVID,
been a real challenge. Yeah, because of COVID, they lost all their business and they went bankrupt. And they were the only ones that took dangerous goods out of the Philippines to the United States. It took me 7 months before I could start shipping dangerous goods again. But we had a plant in Montana, so that kind of made up for it, but not enough. I had to have both plants running.
Sure. So you were making ammo, but not able to get it out of the Philippines.
Oh, yeah. Yep. In fact, we had to stop after the first 2 months because we just filled up our warehouse and we had no vessels to be able to ship out. So we got stuck with millions of dollars worth of inventory that we couldn't ship.
Martin, that's a perfect example of people don't understand the intricacies of how this stuff comes together. And it's easy for somebody to sit there and go, why is there no ammo here? I don't understand. Just make more ammo. And you go, you don't understand. There's only one shipping company that'll take dangerous goods out of Philippines, and they went bankrupt. They're not even, so now you have to totally pivot and kind of find a new person to work with on that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So
took me 7 months.
Jeez, well, I'm glad you guys are still, I guess thankfully business has been busy and helped perhaps offset that. I'm glad you guys are kind of able to weather those challenges.
Oh yeah, it's challenging. I mean, look at Europe. I mean, and stuff in Brazil. I mean, everybody got shut down that wasn't in the United States. Don't forget, Americans are the only country in the world that has a Second Amendment. So it's a protected business and right in the United States. Around the world, they don't look at us. They look at us as something like a pest.
Right.
Like an industry that's there that probably started in 1600s or 1500s, and so we put up with you, but they don't really care. We'll give you a government contract, okay, whatever. But the U.S. market's so large that a lot of us really make our bread and butter in between government contracts by selling to the United States.
Hey, Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Armscor and Rock Island Armory. The newest addition from them is the STK100 pistol. It's striker fired, but it's not exactly polymer. It's a solid aluminum frame, and I've shot it, and I was really impressed by it. It's a full-size gun, 17 rounds in the magazine, optics ready, so it's pretty cool. You can find out more at armscor.com. Also, Safariland, their 575 IWB holster is really changing the game because it's designed to fit multiple firearms. It actually fits the slim fits, what we call slim fits, can carry guns from Glock, Springfield, SIG, M&Ps, and more. It's optics capable. It also has adjustable cant and a unique grip lock system, so it kind of gives you some security when carrying. But visit Safariland.com. Use the code GUNTALK20 for 20% off holsters and accessories through June 30th. Also, Gun Talk Nation is sponsored by Timney Triggers. Timney is celebrating their 75th anniversary doing triggers. Their newest one is the Alpha Competition series for Glocks Gen 3, Gen 4, and Gen 5, a bunch of different models. We've been using it, enjoying it, and we've installed it, and it really wasn't that hard, so you don't have to be worried about that. And it's just a one way to improve your shooting with your Glock pistols. Check them out. Find your new trigger at timneytriggers.com. Now, there are some other things you guys have, and I wanted to kind of get into the firearms side. I know you are a 1911 guy. Walk me through some of the different ones, and I'll go ahead and jump ahead. There's a new gun we're going to talk about here in a few minutes that's brand new, hasn't ever been released. You guys are going to hear about it for the first time here. But some of the existing stuff in the lineup is pretty fun to talk about.
Yeah, well, of course, the TCM. Everybody's got that standard 45 or even going to 9mm to shoot minor, right? And we love the 1911. I mean, John Moses Browning is a genius. That's what I think. It's my personal opinion, but I don't think very many people can argue with me on that. I mean, from the 1903 to the 1908 Pocket Fest to the M2 and other guns that he created. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's just a genius.
It's my personal opinion, but if you disagree with me, you're wrong.
I guess I enforced my opinion with facts. As you can tell, I'm not a liberal, so I don't work on feelings. I work on facts. But yeah, so 1911s are my favorite. I mean, when my dad said he was going to develop a 1911, start making them, my first gun was a Colt Series 80 Gold Cup, and I love shooting 1911s. It felt right in my hands every time I picked it up, and so we modernized the 1911s. We went from, coming out with as many flavors as we possibly can to the 22 TCM. And for those who haven't heard of the 22 TCM, it's our little fireball that we put inside our 1911s to make it shoot like a rifle, basically.
Yes, like you say on your website. So this is what it feels like to hold a cannon.
Yeah.
I
think that slogan is a little misleading, and you'd think
well, it's fun.
Extreme recoil. But it shoots so soft. It shoots like a rimfire.
Yep.
With a big fireball. So, people, it's better ballistics than a 5.7, and to me, it's on a 1911 platform, so it's not on some plastic gun or anything like that. It's fantastic, right?
Yes, it's very fun. Anyone who's shot the 22 TCM is blown away, so to speak. And yeah, on a 1911 platform. And what we're talking about is it is comparable. And you can kind of give me the comparison, but if you think of it like that 5.7, if you know the 5.7, it's a centerfire bottleneck cartridge that's shooting a 22 bullet that's going 2,000 feet per second. I mean, it's a fire-breathing dragon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it because there's a light recoil. In fact, I carry one every day, and I've got one right in front of me. It's my daily carry. I carry it around the house. It never leaves my side. I do admit that sometimes I go to smaller guns like the Baby Rock or stuff like that. If I'm like biking around town in the springtime. But if I'm just going to go carry, I'm going to carry full size 1911, 17 rounds TCM in it.
Well, and with that, it's kind of like magic, because anyone who shot a full-size pistol that is like a 22 rimfire, it's so much fun to shoot because there's not a lot of recoil and that type of thing. Well, now you actually have the not a lot of recoil, but it has lots of power. And so you have it. I think it helps you be a better shooter in a lot of ways, because you're not fighting the recoil and getting back on target and all that stuff. You don't come off of the target. So it's kind of a magic situation there.
Yeah. I mean, you double taps, just keeping that all into center mass with a 22 TCM. It's so easy. And I really without a lot of training, you can do that automatically with a TCM. Other guns you do have to train. I mean, not going to say I'm not going to tell you not to train. I want to rephrase that. Everybody has to train all the time. I make ammo, so please. But it is an easier gun to manipulate and get on target and keep it on target for sure.
Yeah. So now I got to tell you how I was introduced to your new gun. So there's a new gun from Rock Island Armory. It's the STK100. And this is what they did to me here at the office. We were out filming at the range, and they said, we have one more thing we need to do. And I had kind of forgotten. I knew that there was a new gun coming in for you guys, but it had been a few weeks. We've been super busy, and it just wasn't in my mind of what we were doing. And he said, we're going to blindfold you. So what do you mean? We want to blindfold you, and I'm going to hand you a gun, and I want you to feel it, tell me about it, figure out what it is, shoot it, all that stuff. And so that's what they did. They did a blindfolded first look at the STK100. And I got to say, I was really impressed with it. I didn't even know what the heck I was holding, except I could start feeling I could figure out what was going on here. But I mean, I'll let you explain what you guys have brought out with this STK100.
Well, let's start off with a little history of why we came out with it.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's got a striker fire pistol, right?
Sure.
It's a standard thing that you got to have in your line. And I'm not the greatest fan of striker fire. I'll use those mild terms.
We all have our preferences. 1911 guy.
Yeah, that's right. So I said to myself, if we're going to come out with a striker fire, we got to be different. All right. That's the main things. We can't be, if you take a look at a Glock or a Smith or a SIG, they've got a lot of similar features, right? And so we want to make sure that they've got a lot of similar features, and they're all polymer, right?
Right.
1911s aren't polymer. Well, there are some polymer 1911s.
It's kind of funny that you say that, Martin, because it's almost like when you say striker fired, I think people think polymer, and you guys said, well, it doesn't have to be that way.
That's right. You can still keep it lightweight and not go polymer. There's other materials out there. Aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, aluminum is easier to machine than steel.
Wow.
You can run your machines, your CNCs twice as fast on with aluminum.
Is that because that's
a
softer metal?
Twice as long. Yeah, it's just a softer metal. We actually, for a friend of mine helping us with gun designs and stuff, came up with this great manufacturing method, which, by the way, we patented. It's what we call a clamshell manufacturing method. We actually machine the entire frame on a solid block, front and back, and then we clamshell it together.
Really? So
Yeah.
Are you saying it's two sides of the gun put together?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. And then we have retaining screws on the firearm. And then with a steel chassis, basically fully loaded, it's almost no difference, negligible difference between the weight of a polymer striker fire and having a metal striker fire pistol.
Well,
and the way we're doing the manufacturing, it actually brings down the cost of manufacturing, because you don't have to now get a pre-machined form block and then broach it and then EDM wire cut and all this nonsense on that frame. Basically, you just run in the high speeds on a CNC and we can pop those out real quick.
Well, it's a good point, because somebody's going to say, wait a minute, if it's a metal pistol, this is going to cost way more than a regular polymer gun.
Well, I guess I was leading into that, right? Because you can see the SIG, I think, retails for $1,200 for their steel frame striker fire, right? Right. No, definitely not. I think our MSRP is going to be right around $600.
Wow.
50% of that.
That's strong. Yeah. So other things on this gun, just as far as specs go and that type of thing, and correct me if I'm on the right track with this, but as I shot it, I would say it's a full size gun. It holds 17 rounds, and it has some nice features. I mean, the slide has lightning cuts on it. Obviously front serrations, rear serrations. It also has an interesting solution you guys have for putting an optic on the gun.
Yeah, we've got an Armor cut type base. So it comes with a fixed sight, but you can pop that fixed sight off and then put optics. So you go carry optics real easy. My suggestion is Vortex to throw in a brand that we work with all the time. They work fantastic on that gun.
And so you pop off it's basically a rear sight and cover sort of all in one. It's a cover plate. And then you pull that off and you can mount an optic on.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't take much work for you to be able to do that. In fact, at some point in time, we'll probably be offering like a carry optic version or, like everybody else does.
Sure.
The business. Yeah. Right now, we're going to come out with a full size. There's a lot of accessories for this full size gun already existing in the market today. You can easily go and get that. Zev Technology, Lone Wolf. They've got the accessories already. So this is something you can actually turn into a competition pistol. You can play around with it just like a 1911. There's other magazine manufacturers. We put them with KCI mags, but there's plenty of others that you can put together and really make it your own gun, like a 1911. What I say. But the most important, I think, I'm missing out is that the grip angle of the gun. With all the other striker fires, you grab them and they kind of point into the ceiling, right? This one shoots like a 1911. That's just me. What can I say? I wasn't going to have it. Having owned all the other brands, I'm going to put what I love into the gun, and I think people appreciate that.
I'm with you. I'm kind of a grip angle snob. I mean, it's one of the things that when I pick up a pistol, if the grip angle is not right, it doesn't feel right to me, the gun doesn't feel right. And it's purely a preference thing. I mean, everybody has a different preference in what they want, but I definitely, and we think, John Moses Browning was a genius, and he did kind of start figuring us out of this is how your hand is naturally going to hold on to a pistol and control it and shoot it the best way possible. So I love to hear that. I wanted to ask you, because when I shot this, I was really impressed by the trigger. what is that your trigger, or how did you guys
No,
come to that?
So we're outsourcing that. So I think the best thing to describe Armscor when it comes to manufacturing guns is like the car industry. The car industry buys from all these different subcontractors and then put together a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the car itself they specialize in maybe making the chassis and some other things on that, right? So I look for the best subcontractors I can find. I'm a frame, slide, and barrel guy.
Okay.
So that's what I want to make. I want to make the major components of the firearm, and then look for the best ones I can find. And we're actually using a trigger out of Taiwan, made by Formosan. And they pass all our stringent requirements, which the Philippine government requires 20,000 round testing for evaluation for firearms for the police. And so they worked with us to make sure that we had a solid trigger so we could join some of the local bids in the Philippines.
Yeah,
and,
I thought it was really nice.
Yeah. It took a little bit of work, and it wasn't overnight. Working with them, and they've been great partners when it comes to coming up with all our little parts for this firearm. So it's been great.
So STK100, if they want to find out more about it, where do they need to go, Martin?
Well, armscor.com is pretty easy. And we should have the section with the STK up in the next day or two, if it's not already there. That's my sister's job. I guess I'll check on that and make sure she's doing her job.
Well, by the time they're hearing this, it'll be out there because it'll.
I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so. If not, she's in trouble, right? She is my older sister, but I am her boss, and so it's a fine line we have to play when it comes to family business of getting mad at our employees and then still respecting them at dinner afterwards.
That's right. You got to keep the peace in the family. Martin, this has been fun, man. Thanks for coming on with us.
Oh, no, thank you for having me on, and enjoy. And I hope all your listeners get a chance to go out buy an STK100. Like I said, I'm a 1911 guy, so this is close to get to the 1911 on the striker fire that I as far as shooting is concerned. And it's going to be fun. We're going to make different versions of it. Carry optics. We'll make a compact version and a subcompact version. All of that's already in the works and planning. Basically, every 2 years or less, we'll come out with new models, new sizes to go along with this line.
Perfect. Well, I think you guys did a nice job with it. It's one of those guns that if you're listening to this, it's one of those guns that I think you just have to get it in your hands and feel it. And if possible, shoot it. And then you'll start going, oh, okay, I like what's been done here, because it's hard to sometimes describe these things until you get it in your hand, you feel the grip angle, you feel the slide, you feel the trigger, and then, of course, shooting it is the proof in the pudding. Martin, thanks for being with us, man. We'll have to have you back on Gun Talk Nation real soon.
Oh, anytime, man. Anytime. All right. And you guys have a great summer.
All right, thanks. Guys, thanks for listening. That's it for us. We will see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.